Hey everybody. So for discussion module 5, I wanted to talk about discussion topic 1 and discussion topic 2. I'll first start with discussion topic 1, which asks where I fall on the continuum of whether I think it's ethical if people know that they're being observed or not. And I think I fall closer to the side of I would rather it be unknown that I'm there researching. And the reason I hold this belief is because if people know that I'm there researching, especially if I'm only doing a few observations, people aren't going to be nearly as authentic. As we kind of read in the chapters for this module, that the more time a researcher spends in that environment, the more authentic the environment will become. But if initially the person knows that a researcher is going to be there, they're going to act a little bit differently. If they're working a job, and let's say I'm observing Walmart workers, they're going to be on their A game. They're going to be making sure that they're doing everything they're supposed to. Specifically in my job as a case manager, I do observations for ETRs. And when I go into a classroom, if a student would know that I was there observing them, they're obviously going to be on their best behavior. So, in situations like for my job, I do my best to stay out of the way. Usually I sit in the back corner of the classroom behind the students so that way they can't see me. I never let the student know that I'm there to observe them. So I think confidentiality and like the secrecy behind that would be beneficial in those situations. Also, coincidentally, I just finished reading the book Nickel and Dimed, which was one of the ethnographic studies that we had learned about in one of the earlier modules. And for that study, she went and worked the researcher worked low income jobs at various cities around the United States and tried to get by on, just provide housing for herself, food for herself, transportation, all on the income of, a minimum wage worker. And because of that study and because of the nature of the study, she couldn't tell her coworkers that that's what she was there for. She wouldn't have got those authentic experiences. So if you're going to be completely immersed in a culture, I can understand if you're going to like Zimbabwe, like where you're really going to stand out. It would probably make sense to reveal why you're there, or else it would be very confusing to everybody. But in a situation where if you're going to be a waitress for a few months or something, I think that can be hidden, and you would get more authentic information that way. So that's kind of where I fall on the continuum there. And for discussion topic 2, any place, community, culture that I could study. Well, there's about a million different places that I would like to observe. The first thing that came to mind was Chinese workers. And the reason that comes to mind is because I'd like to know kind of the entire picture of a Chinese worker. I think in the Western culture and the things I've learned and or heard is that the Chinese workers are super fast and efficient and they work super long hours and they work super hard. I would just be interested in learning about what their home lives are like. Do they love the work they do or do they hate the work they do? Why do they continue to put themselves through hard hours, dangerous work conditions, and that sort of thing, where and I would just want to get a better picture of why, and just, it would be very interesting to note the differences.